Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Good to
Oh,
see you.
you too. You
Oh,
too.
so exciting. My
Yeah.
goodness. I've been so funny because I think this is like my 10th group. But
Wow.
I still have that like nervous energy of starting and then meeting some new people and I'm excited. So it's so good to see you. And if you need to just like exhale like I do right now, I just finished teaching a class, so I'm a little bit like, oh, and it's the first meeting, it's our orientation. So in the next 11 weeks, what we're going to be doing is really establishing these daily habits of Thrive. And we're going to be doing this through experimenting, through trying, new things, and through taking a very incremental improvement approach. And this is something we'll keep coming back to, of slow, continuous improvement. And I'm just going to mute everyone for a minute, and because there's a little bit of a background noise. And these meetings will really be a combination of me teaching and coaching. So you'll be learning, but then we'll also have lots of time for troubleshooting and from bringing up, what your challenges are and where you need support and any questions that you have and need to be answered. And so we're going to be experimenting and really learning how to listen to our bodies and learning how to trust our intuition. And that's probably one of the most important things that you're going to actually learn. So yes, you will learn about, why these habits are important and how to actually adopt habits that you can sustain forever. But it's really learning how to actually figure out for yourself what you need to be doing so that you become empowered to make the right choices moving forward, so that you learn really how to trust your own body wisdom. So in today's call, we're going to really get clear on our what and our why, and this is something that is really important, that every meeting you should, and throughout this 11 weeks, you should be very clear on what you want to get out of this, what you're working on, and why it's important to you. And then we're also going to introduce ourselves. There are right now 14 people, and there's a few people, I think, there's one or two that are late or can't come today. So this is not the whole group. And then we're also going to just go over some of the group guidelines and how the course is going to work and answer any questions and kind of what you need to work on this week. So this is just the orientation. And in the beginning, I know it can feel a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot of information being thrown at you, especially if you just registered recently. There's a whole bunch of bonus videos to watch and like stacks of papers and worksheets and different books. And so totally normal if you feel a little bit overwhelmed at this point. And just show of hands if you feel overwhelmed at this point. And you can just be totally honest and awesome. That's okay. It's okay. And so one of the kind of guidelines is don't tweak out, reach out. So if at any point, and we have now almost 100 people in the Align and Thrive community on the Facebook forum. And so these are, people that have gone through this maybe once or twice or more, have, been around for years, or maybe just finished. And so you can go there and just ask for support. And even if you just need to like get something off your chest, or if you have a question, or if you just want to share what's going on, or if you want to, celebrate a win or success that you've had, please use that forum. And the more that we can get a really engaging conversation, and the more we can all be present there, the more energy this whole experience will have, and the more momentum it'll create, and the more you will get out of it. And there's, we all have tendencies. Some people tend to hold back and are a little bit quiet, a little bit more introverted. And then some of us are, out there and have no problem really sharing. So I encourage everyone to really, I encourage at least once a week to go on there, to read what's I'm posting daily, just extra resources for if you want to learn more. There's people that just want to learn everything. And then for some people, it's like, that is just way too much information. So feel free to just, that's all extra. It's not required. It's just there for you, for the people that want to learn more. But it's really ultimately there for us to have a conversation and for us to connect as a community and to really feel that sense of like, I'm not in this alone. And sometimes we'll do that. We'll feel like, oh my gosh, I'm the only one that has a hard time making these changes, or I'm the only one that's struggling with this. And it's so not the case. And we all have growing edges. And the more you can actually say what's going on for you and actually share like where you're struggling, the more there'll be a sense of connection, because I promise you, you're not the only one. So what and our why. So I want to start with a little bit of a centering practice, and always come to the meetings with pen and paper and something to write on, because we'll be doing different inquiry practices or journal exercises, or I'll have you kind of write answers to different things. So make sure that you always come prepared. So close your eyes and just come find, either you can stand up or you can sit down, but really feel your seat, or if you're standing, just feel your feet on the earth, and bring your attention and your awareness into your body. And just notice how your body feels right now, and you might feel the butterflies of nervousness or excitement. And just to let whatever is arising be there. Just make space for it. Don't judge it. And then I want you to really tap into why you are here. Like, what brought you here? What do you really want? In your wildest dreams, what do you want out of this? For your health, for your vitality, for your well-being. And notice how, what you want would make you feel. Like, what's the feeling that you ultimately want? How do you want to feel in your body? How do you want to feel mentally or emotionally? How do you want to experience your level of strength, of fitness? And then see if you can actually even just find a few words, a few adjectives that describe that feeling that you want. Could even be like how you want to experience your day, like your time. And then you can open your eyes, and I'd like you just to jot down like whatever came to mind, whatever words. How do you want to feel? What is that desired state that you're after for being here? How do you want to experience your time or your day or your self? And then I'd love us, so I'm just going to kind of go down the line or kind of across, and I'll call on you one by one. And I'd love for you to just introduce yourself and where you're from and why you're here and what you really want to get out of this. So I'm just going to start at the top. Marnie.
Hi.
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 Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yay.
So my name is Marnie. I'm in Calgary. And I am a friend of Jean, who's over here on down the road from me. So, and so Jean was very kind to bring me into this little group, and very happy to be here. So, as I was doing the little reflection, really my what I want to achieve is balance. I'm not super good at balance, or rather I could use a little bit better balance in my life. And so in lots of ways I would like to get better at balance, and to I guess just feel better about the way I structure my life and how I feel about myself.
Awesome. Thank you. Yay. Good. Welcome. All right, Megan. Hi. Oh wait, I'm trying to unmute you, but it's there. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Megan. I'm joining from Toronto, and I also balance came to mind as well with what I'm looking to accomplish more of. Also looking to improve energy levels and increase strength, both mostly mental, but also physical, that I'm hoping to get out of this as well.
Awesome. Thanks. And Jen and Steve. Oh, hold on. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'll let you. Okay, there.
Hey, everyone. How you doing? I'm Steve.
Hi.
So Jennifer asked me if I'd like to have some fun. I like fun.
I'm so glad you have.
No,
yeah.
That's not it at all.
It's going to be fun.
Jennifer was, looking into this a little bit, and I said, hey, I think that looks really good. I think I could benefit from all of that. So I'm pretty excited.
Awesome. So what do you want? What do you want out of this, Steve?
So I think it's kind of like, if you took 10 days, I'd have 9 pretty solid days. But then there'd be like the 10th where it's like, I just ate too much. I just kind of turned my brain off because it's like, maybe it's a celebration or something, but I just ate too much. And then I'm kind of like, oh, why'd I do that? So I just like to have that, just be like, hey, why not get 10 out of 10? So that's what I'd like to do.
All right. So I'm going to go right into like a brief coaching kind of. So we're actually not looking for perfection. So although you want to show up 100% and always do your best, and I'll give you like some great tools for that today actually, but perfectionism is actually an ego strategy that can hold us back, because what often happens when we have that idea, like I have to do it perfectly, is that sometimes we won't even start. Or we'll say, oh, if I can't do it 100% or get the 10 out of 10, I'm not even going to try. And I'm not saying that that's your tendency at all. It's just, I would say like 99% of people that start out have that perfectionism issue of really being held back of this, with that idea of like, if I can't do it perfectly, and then beating yourself up and then feeling guilty. And so actually my teacher talks about like, just aim for a B+ or B, she might even say a B-. So, but the idea is, we want to be consistent, totally. And I think that's what I'm hearing really is like, you want to just be more consistent with the healthier habits and staying on track. And
yeah, like I like to just be kind of like conscious. I liked in one of the exercises you sent out about values and just being really like having some awareness of just like, what are my intentions?
Yeah.
What am I setting out to do? And just having some awareness about that. What are the things I value? What am I, and there's just kind of making decisions based on that rather than just kind of reacting to different things, So that's what I'm kind of interested in, is just like, what are my values? What am I trying to accomplish? And then be consistent with that.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's some flexibility, like there's, there's a lot of, super fit people out there, and, but I think for me, I'm just kind of like, well, I like to work at stuff. And so I think I'd like to just kind of maybe bring it to that next level.
Yeah, totally.
It's mostly about the kind of mental and just kind of the just kind of, having some sort of just calmness, just being more reflective and having a greater intention. Just kind of, instead of reacting to things, just be like, my intention is to do things this way, and then see more of that.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's definitely the right approach of being aligning our actions and our behaviors with those intentions, with what we really want. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. Jen?
Yeah, we're in Kelowna, and I been taking some yoga with Donna for the last couple of years, and then went to her day retreat, and you had like a little bit of some of the things I think we're going to cover. And it was just like the teaser. I was like, oh yeah, I want more of all of that. I don't really know what I don't know, but I like all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Yay. Thanks. All right, Jean.
Hi. Well, I am here because, I've met Donna, so probably 3 years ago. I went with Donna down to Texas and had an amazing yoga retreat with her and my good friend Barb from Kelowna. And I've always just been, I just know that, Donna, you're a wealth of information. And then my good friend Tash, who's here too, was hosted Donna at her studio in Penticton. And so it just seemed like when I heard Donna was coming, I thought, yes, I'm going to come and hear what she has to say. And anyway, beyond all that, what draws me to this is I want to improve just to age gracefully, energetically, with a vitality, to sleep better. I sometimes have insomnia, which comes and goes, and it's been a lifelong thing, and just continue to develop better habits. Some of them can be good for a while, and then they go. So I just want to, my why is because I want to feel energetic and invigorated and vital.
Awesome. Thank you. Lisa. Uh-oh. Are you talking? Oh, there. Uh-oh. I can't hear you. Or it's a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I am calling in from Caledon, which is just south of Penticton. And I'm here because I feel like I'm looking for more flow in my life, and that definitely balance and energy and strength came to mind as well, which is neat because some other people mentioned that. And I've had a little bit of an introduction to Ayurveda through having just chatted with somebody at a farmer's market, and it was in Quebec a couple years ago, and it just seems to keep popping up. So I'm curious about diving deeper because it's really nice when you find something that really aligns with what you believe to be true. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Welcome. And Naomi. Hi.
So I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, in the U.S., Southeast. And
You're the only one from the United States here. It's awesome.
It's funny. I was like, I know where Toronto is. I need to look at a map and not be the quintessential American that knows nothing about our neighbors to the north.
It's all good.
So I can figure out the cities are.
Yeah.
But my words were easy, fluid, free, and light in terms of how I want to experience just myself in my day.
Yeah.
I want to have, and what I want to get out of this is to have healthy choices, not be so hard, not have it be a choice, but just more natural and not to have to think about it. And I'm very intrigued by Ayurveda, and I'm just very interested in seeing how that may help with this aspect of wanting to know myself better and just be better.
Awesome. Yeah, love it. Thank you. And Jessie.
Hi, I'm Jessie, and I'm phoning in from Kelowna. And a lot of what you guys have said has resonated with me. My words that I wrote down were vibrant, connected, grounded, strong. And I think I'm really most interested in learning about self-care and what that really is and what that really means for me. I think I've had lots of ideas over the years of what self-care is, and I think I'm learning that that's not necessarily accurate. So yeah, I'm looking for more energy and really just getting more joy out of life.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks. And Joy.
Hi. Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, my name's Joy, and I live like 3 blocks from Donna. And I try to do a yoga class, and then I have about 7 minutes to get home here, and I'm always sweaty and a little frazzled. And I apologize. It's always filmed in my bedroom, so
me too.
Yeah, it's not creepy. I just have at least 4 teenagers out there.
Yeah.
So it's the second time I did the course. I just finished the summer program. Obviously, I'm not a perfectionist because I didn't quite get it all, but it was all new to me, like 100% new. So I got a ton out of it, a lot. But I wanted to keep rolling because I have a long way to go.
The journey never ends.
Yeah. So I think, like what I've heard, sleep, the way I handle stress. Yeah, I didn't even get to the food portion because I was so focused on some really other habits. But the words I wrote down were stable, secure, and safe. So I guess a sense of control and just stability, I think, without being sort of victim to the waves and the chaos of life and my work. So I think I'll go with stability.
Yeah, awesome. Yay. And Natasha, Tash.
Hello. Hey.
Hey.
I think that I just want to dive deeper, and Ayurvedics come up quite a bit in the last years, and I've always been like, oh yeah, I'd really like to check that out. And then all of a sudden I got an email from you and I was like, yes, that's awesome. So I took your habits, which I really, really liked. And one thing that really stuck with me was a habit or a way of being that you had talked about that was like, throughout your day, get stuff done. And then at the end of the day, like, you really accomplish stuff instead of just having a super busy day and then at the end of the day feeling like you didn't really accomplish anything, so I totally want to get things done and really just live on purpose, so starting with the breath work in the morning and the food and just everything. So I'm really excited to do this with you.
Awesome. Hey. And Twyla, we can't see you, but we can hopefully hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I missed the first part, but I'm just listening to the other people and
yeah, just introductions and why you're here.
Yeah.
Or where you're from and why you're here.
Well, my name's Twyla. I'm from Kelowna, and the reason that I'm very interested in this course is that basically the word balance. I find I can go, and I feel like I've got the balance, and then all of a sudden I hit a wall. And so it's just trying to find that structure during the day where it's like I can do this and I can do this and set goals, but not overdo it. And probably learning the word no, that I can't do everything all in one day. My nutrition is absolutely terrible. I live on coffee, and I've taken from 4 cups 2 weeks ago down to 1 cup in the morning, and hopefully off.
That's good.
But yeah, I've got a very stressful job. So I just I'm a perfectionist at my work, but sometimes I take that home, and I just got to find that balance.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Balance seems to be the theme this round. And Jasmine. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm Jasmine. I'm in Calgary. I've spent most of my life in Kelowna. That's how I know Donna. I met Donna at Orange about 10 or 11 years ago. She actually taught me some of my first yoga classes. So here I am. I'm here for very similar reasons. However, I feel like I have a lot more, way too many reasons. So like Twyla, I feel like I'm very exhausted all the time, but I'm very busy, and I hit the wall constantly. As a nurse, I work in psychiatry, so it's very demanding. It tends to take a lot of my chi, and I give out a lot of my chi, more than I take in. So my immune system's lacking, and I just need to learn balance. I need to learn energy. I feel like I do everything right. I have great sleeping habits. My diet is great. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe this course I learn a little bit about how to actually maybe internalize stress differently. So we'll see.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
And Sharon, are you trying to unmute you? Oh, shoot. Okay.
Did you get me?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm really dark.
You are dark. Yeah, I can't.
My little human wanted bouncing, so I couldn't be in the light and still see you.
That's all good.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sharon. I did Align and Thrive with Donna, I think 2 years ago almost now. And yeah, it was a really great experience. I have a new transition in my life. And so, you know, the words that I chose, like how I really want to feel and be physically and mentally right now, are strong, awake, and centered is what I wrote down. And I know that I'm not going to sleep, and so that like wake thing is relative. But I had like a few weeks, like I didn't drink coffee at all the whole time I was pregnant, and for like the first 3 months of his life, and then was like, I'll just have a little, and then I just started having a little more and started feeling a little more tired, and could just see this kind of, you know, thing, this like pattern or habit that I didn't really want to have start to eke its way back in. So
yeah,
I just had a super great experience with the last Align and Thrive course. I had a lot of habits that I did come back to regularly, but I felt so great when I was doing all of them that I just really like to kick that back into a totally everyday kind of practice. Yeah, for the benefit of myself and then the other important people in my life.
Awesome. Yay. Yeah. Yay. All right. So, and then there's one more person who's couldn't be on the meeting, but she's also taking it for a second time. So do know that the intention is not to have it all down after 10 weeks. And because it's, you know, there's a lot. there's 10 habits, but then each habit, there's kind of habits within those habits. So it's really about getting clear about what you want. And then based on what you want, like what are the habits, and as we move through it, the ones that you really need to focus on. So there'll be some that you'll just shelf for later. And there's always, again, opportunities to take it again and to stay connected so that you keep working on the habits. So the most important thing is, again, having a really compelling vision. And this is something that I have found for myself. The more and more clear I am about what I want, the easier it is to make the good decisions. Because when you're not clear, it's like when there's temptation or when there's something that might kind of go against what you know is good for you, those self-sabotaging behaviors, when you know exactly the direction that you're moving in, you can ask that question in that moment: does this, take me to where I'm going or not? And so that it becomes really easy. So having a compelling vision. So I want you to take some time this week and create that vision for yourself of like who you want to be and how you want to experience your health and what you really want. And there's a great book. It's called The 12-Week Year, and I use it in a few of my courses. And it's really like kind of a goal-setting time management book. But he talks about the importance of your vision. And he talks about how, he says, it's the all-important why behind the things you do. When viewed in this light, the vision has the power to enable one to confront and conquer fears, take bold, consistent action, and live a life of significance. Vision is the starting point of all high performance. So it's not enough to just have the vision. You need to look at it every day. You need to remind yourself at every evening if what you did, and really reflect back on the actions you took over the day and see if you were align to your vision. And Steve kind of talked about that, of, having that intention and then behaviors that align with that intention. So he talks about some common pitfalls and success tips on creating your compelling vision. So he says, one of the pitfalls is that you don't take the power of your vision seriously. So he says, type A people think that vision is fluff. And those that think that the vision in this way tend to leap past the question of purpose and dive into action. And this was definitely me until recently. Like, I would just take action without a really clear vision of why, and having it really aligned to the values, which is why I put that values worksheet or workshop in this, because this is so important that we really know what are our values and why, what's most important. And then our vision should align with those values. So the problem is, he says, when the going gets difficult, it's harder to stay committed to the work in the long run because there's no compelling reason why. So our why keeps us on track and maintains that consistency and keeps us really motivated and gives us the energy that's required to keep going, because there are times that it's going to be hard to keep going. And so when you revisit your vision, and that's why you want to make your vision big enough. And that's why I said, like, in your wildest dreams, it should be big enough that it calls you forward and it really demands and invites you to take bigger actions. And so the vision should be meaningful for you. And again, and meaningful in the fact that it aligns with your vision, your values, it aligns with, what you really want. And he also says, a pitfall is if your vision's too small, because it won't call on your best efforts. And you won't have to reach very far, and you won't have to really sacrifice your comfort. And doing different things means you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. And that's always challenging. So having a big enough reason why to do that is really important. And he also says that another pitfall is not connecting to your vision on a daily basis. So write it down, read it every morning, and maybe every night as well. And so the success tips, he says, share it with others. And this can be sharing it on our Facebook forum. It could be sharing it with your loved ones. And whenever we share our vision, it holds us accountable, because we want to have integrity with our vision. So we'll do things that are aligned with that, because we've actually put it out there into the universe. We've declared it. And he says, live with intention. So at the end of each day, take a few minutes to reflect on the progress that you made. Did it move you forward, or was it filled with activity that wasn't related to your vision? And so Tasha said, she's busy all day long, and not ending the day with a real sense of accomplishment. So again, the more clear you are of what you're working on and what you want, and then what you need to do to get there, you will end your day with more of a sense of accomplishment, because you'll have focused on the right things. So I want you during this course and I saw, it was really great. I saw a lot of people bought journals and have decided to do some journaling. And whether you do that normally or not, it's a great idea. And I have a template for a daily journal, and it's based off of the 5-minute journal. And that's an app. And it's also, you can buy like the bound one, but you can just use the app, or you can use this worksheet. If you prefer to write down, you can, and I'm going to actually put the link. So there's a chat window here at the bottom. So if you ever, like, while I'm talking, if something comes up and you have a question, you can just type it into the chat box. So that is the link to the daily journal. And by the way, I forgot to mention that up here on the very top, it says speaker view. So how I have it is that I see everyone kind of like the Brady Bunch, everyone's little picture. So you can always change that. It can be just the person that's speaking, or you can just see everyone. So if this is new technology for you. So something that I just started doing, and I wrote a blog post about it recently, so whoops, some of you might have read it. So the book Triggers, and Jasmine, I think you said that you bought it. He has an app called Impact Yourself Daily. And on it, he basically has you create questions for yourself. And the questions all start with, did I do my best to? And so when you think about your vision and your goals and what you really want out of this course, you can think about, okay, if I want balance, what do I need? What are the actions that I need to start doing? And yes, you're going to be given specific habits to work on. But I think, honestly, a lot of us know what we need to work on. And we all kind of know where we need what needs improvement and what we need to refine. So, and that was even part of your health form. It's one of the questions was, what do you think you need to do to make the biggest impact on your health? And so you can make a commitment to yourself. Like maybe it's, I need to shut off my all electronics at 8 p.m. And that's just an example. So one of the questions is, did I do my best to shut off my electronics at 8 p.m.? And then every day you can use the app because it's easier, or you can write this down in a journal and score yourself. And you basically score yourself from 0 to 10. And what I found in using this is that because I know I'm going to score myself at the end of the day, and it's just a way to hold ourselves accountable. I'm more mindful of those things, and I'm more aligned in my day-to-day with those things, because I know that's specifically what I'm working on. It's specifically what I want to improve. I've taken the time. I've made that commitment to myself. And again, it's not a means to beat yourself up at all and to feel guilty if you didn't kind of get a 10 out of 10. But it is a way to just keep reminding you to do certain things that you know you ultimately want to do to get you to where you want to go. So Impact Yourself Daily is the app. I'll put it here. And then there's the daily questions or the 5-minute journal. These are all different options. But I like the Impact Yourself Daily because it's the emphasis is on just doing your best. It's not on it, and again, it's not on perfection. It's just on creating progress. And we really want to just keep taking small steps forward and incremental 1% improvements every single day, and just staying consistent. And I like the Impact Yourself Daily because it's just a way to stay consistent, because you're reminding yourself every single day. Are there any questions so far? And if at any point you do have a question, please don't hesitate to interrupt. So you can, if you're on a computer, you can curse over your name and just unmute yourself. You can kind of wave a hand if I can see you. If you're on the phone, which I don't think anyone's on the phone, but if you ever do call in, it's just *6 to unmute yourself. All right, so you want to know your what, and you want to know your why. And the why is really important. So your why is based on, okay, say you want balance. Why? Why do you want balance? Like, who's going to be impacted if you have better balance? How is it going to change your life? What will it enable you that is not possible for you right now? And there's something called, my teacher introduced me to, it's called the so what mantra. So with every answer, when you ask yourself why do I want this? You ask yourself again, so what? So I want better balance. Does anyone want to play? Like who wants to kind of go through this exercise? Come on. Yay, Naomi, yay. Okay, awesome. Okay, so why, tell me what you wanted again.
I wanted to make healthy choices, but it not be so hard. It just be more natural part of who I am.
Yeah, totally. And so why? Because
I want to have better health physically and be nicer to my family.
And why do you want better health?
Because I believe I'm here to not just go to meetings and pay bills and do chores. There's more, and I feel distracted by some of the things that I've been thinking about for the past 20 years as an adult, like, I need to work out, I need to lose weight, I need to eat better, I need to get more rest, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. and, and so, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you kind of went right. You went right to that. And that's, yeah. So there's more. So what do you sense that more is? Do you have a sense?
And that's the rub. I should know. I'm going to be 40 in a few months. And I feel like I've confined myself to titles: wife, mom, employee, you name it. But I feel like I've lost myself a little bit in that. I don't want my identity to be tied to a title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there's work to do there, and I'm distracted today by these other things.
Right.
I may be using it as a crutch because, like a few people shared, I want to manage stress better and not just from an exterior look like, oh, I'm managing well, because internally I know my body is still going to react in a way that I don't want it to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I went through all the pre-work, I got a lot more awareness, and I didn't realize that I don't wake up with a lot of energy and vitality. I wake up like, and I use snooze like for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Set my alarm 30 minutes ahead. And, I have all the symptoms of some of the things that I know my dosha, I'm out of balance. And I thought, wow, I just got so used to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to making some intentional changes so that I feel how I believe I think we're all designed to feel.
Yeah.
Strong and, like I think Marnie said, vital.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we are meant to thrive. And that's the whole idea. That's what we're doing here. It's not so much of like, I have perfect habits. We want to thrive. We want to free up energy that we spend, thinking about food and thinking about like what we should and shouldn't be doing, and feeling bad about things that we are doing that we don't want to do anymore, because there's more important work to be done. And we want to really live fully and reach our potential, and maybe we don't even know what that is or what that looks like. And that's okay, and that's the thing. As we do start to have more energy, and we do start to get more clear, and we live more purposefully and intentionally, we start to, and that's what happened to me. I had no idea until after I was doing these habits. Then I started to have that sense of clarity of purpose and why I was here, and then had the energy to go and do that.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah. So, and if I'm talking to one person, I want you to all ask yourself those same questions, like why, for yourself, why is that important? And why is that important? And it's called infinite regression. You just keep regressing until you get to the essence. And that's something you need to come back to when the going gets tough, of that deeper why it really matters. So we want to get, and the idea of balance and vitality, these can be very conceptual. So in order to know if we're actually making progress, we need to make it very specific and measurable. And this can get a little bit tricky. So we took these like words and this, more of a feeling state of how we want to feel, and these more elusive things. And now we want to whittle that down into something very specific, as in like, I want to lose 10 pounds, or like, I want to get like 8 hours of sleep, or whatever it is, something that you can actually measure and know if you're doing it, because balance is how will you measure balance? How will you know if you've achieved balance? So now, based on why you're here, can you come up with 1 to 3 desired outcomes that are very specific in a way that you will know when you get there? And this is like goal setting 101. This is SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So for specific, what's the very specific thing? I want to sleep through the night without waking up. I want to wake up with my energy at an 8. And this is, so with some of these things that are, like, it's not necessarily like a number, you can use a scale. Like, for example, I want my anxiety to go from a 9 to a 5, or a 9 to a 4. So, or my stress level to go from a this to a that. So that you can put a number on it now, like what is it now? And then at the end, we can come back to that and see, okay, where am I now? Did I actually achieve that? So specific, measurable, how are you going to measure it? And that can be either a scale or a number if the number works. Is it attainable? Like, you know, you want it to be realistic, because we're in for the long haul. This isn't like a fad diet. This is habits that we want to have for the rest of our life, and just build on and keep refining and keep automating. So again, we don't, like Naomi said, it's just natural. It just happens. We don't have to think about it. We don't make the decision to do it. We just do it. And that's what we really ultimately want to get with all these habits. We want it to just happen. We want to just exercise every day. We want to eat we want to eat healthy every day. We want to take some time to sit in silence every day. We want to have that downtime and relax. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So the time bound is for, in 11 weeks. That's the time. So there's a Google Doc that I will, so after every meeting, so the next day, so Tuesday, basically, unless we meet on a different day, I'll send you an email that has kind of the reminders, any links that I mentioned. I put that all in the email, kind of a follow-up email. So I will put a link to that, and I sent it to you guys today. And if you don't have Gmail, if you didn't get that, just let me know. Sometimes I have to just kind of invite you or give you access. And you will put there in that document your desired outcome. So the specific, measurable, desired outcome. So it says 3, but I would say 1 to 3. And actually, the more you can narrow down, the better. And I've learned this from experience I usually set too many goals, and I achieve 1 or 2 of them. And it isn't because I'm like, it's just because we can only do so much at once, right? And the more we can narrow our focus, the better. And then it's easier to not get distracted if we have just 1 or 2 things that we're working on. And then, how will you self-sabotage? So we all have self-sabotaged in the past. So how do you specifically self-sabotage? Or what do you tell yourself what do you keep telling yourself that is ultimately holding you back? And it could be like, I'll start tomorrow, or just this once, or this doesn't count, or maybe it's you get distracted by other things, and maybe you just will start to overschedule yourself and not give yourself enough time to really fully participate in this course. Like, what do you tend to do? And then, so you want to create a statement that basically helps anchor you in how you want to show up. A statement that will bring you back from those ways that you might normally do things, to realign you. So in that Google Doc, you'll put in your self-sabotage statement. And then you want to put an anchor statement. And this again is an anchoring your intention of, and it can be like it can start with like I, and what book was it that I think it was Triggers also. He talks about purpose at the end of Triggers, and he talks about having a purpose statement. And he says, like, put this on your steering wheel, put this on your bathroom mirror, put this on like your computer, put it somewhere that you see, so that you know your bigger why, your anchor statement that helps remind you of what you really want, like what that, and maybe it's, I mean, I'm kind of drawing a blank here, but if anyone has a thought of like a good anchor statement, I'd love to hear it. Maybe it's like I flow through my day with ease, or I feel steady and clear, or I don't know. It's, anyone have one on the share? And something I want to say about sharing, and this is a safe space, and everything that we talk about here is confidential. And the very first meeting, or the very first course that I taught, I had a woman that came up to me at the end, and she was like, make sure that you tell people that their story matters. And sometimes we think that like we have nothing to contribute, or like what we have to say isn't profound enough or smart enough, and then we just hold back. And when we hold back, it actually holds back the whole group, because we, when we are vulnerable and when we actually allow ourselves to be seen and to be authentic, it creates so much more connection within the group. And again, like, we all learn from each other. And, Naomi, I'm sure we could all relate to pretty much everything she was saying. And so we get ourselves out of this feeling like I'm separate, or I'm different, or I'm alone on this. And because that's just, in yoga, it's called the malas. And it's basically these ways that we see the world that's not true. And one of those is that feeling of being separate or different, or we compare ourselves to other people. So to just break all that, like, step out of your comfort zone and share, like, what's real for you, like what's going on. Like, we want to know and we want to hear so we can connect. Awesome. Lisa.
I figured out how to unmute myself. Okay,
yeah.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
When you talked about anchor statement, I've never realized that I have an anchor statement, but I think I do, or that I've adopted in the last 6 months or so. And I'm not sure where I got it, but it's something I've started doing when I walk, or when I run, or when I drive, or when I'm doing anything that doesn't require my brain. It's sort of a meditative kind of mantra, but it totally anchors me. And it's that I'm walking with intention in the direction of my truth.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's very rhythmic, like, so whatever I'm doing, or I'm driving with intention in the direction of my truth, so it works.
I love that. And that's very clear, because it does, I mean, just you saying that, I can feel like there's an energy there's like a directionality to it, and it, like, saying that in a crux moment would actually help you make the right decision.
Yeah, it's very good for, moving into decision making, or when you're just trying to take a minute to think about something, or it's good for a break, like a mental break. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And feel free, guys, if you're like, I want that one, I'm going to use that one too, like that. You don't have to be original. Like, if there's something that works that's been said, or you can use it. Anyone else? Naomi. Yes.
So I was thinking about this a lot. Sometimes, if I'm really honest with myself, I make choices out of fear, like fear of not having enough or scarcity or whatever it may be. And I want to make choices out of love, love for myself, love for others.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not as nice as Lisa's, but that's what I'm working on. But again, with the fear, I'll share, as I was writing down my one outcome, I thought to myself, so that means you're going to be so busy working on this one goal, you're going to have 5 other things where it's going to be like whack-a-mole, and it's just going to slide somewhere else. And I do have a lot of fear on, like, will this even work for me? Because I'll be so focused on one thing and it may be difficult and I may slip in other areas. Mm-hmm. But then again, going back to the anchor statement of, well, that's just how I tend to think, and I can't trust that thinking. But if you have anything, and maybe we'll get to this, on our calls and on the Facebook, but for those of us like myself that tend to think negatively, I don't have a natural positive thought process. It's always what could go wrong.
Mm-hmm. That's
Any
normal.
tips on that?
And that's normal. There's actually, this has been proven. We all have a negativity bias because we evolved, like, basically on the lookout for what's going to go wrong. Like, that's how humans evolved. Like, just, we had to be on alert. Until now we don't have to, but before, when we were being chased by tigers and needing to, like, forage for our food or hunt for our food, it was really, we had to have that negativity bias. But now it doesn't really serve us. Now it just makes us unhappy. Mm-hmm. So when there's those thoughts, it's actually learning to, like, step back from the thoughts and step back from the negative, the negativity, and actually just see it like, oh, there's me being negative again, and just label it like, oh, negative thought. That's it. Just so, and it's a technique called diffusion. So it's like stepping, and meditation is a really good tool for this, because it's realizing that we are not our thoughts. We can actually separate ourselves from our thoughts and actually observe our thoughts and just be a witness to our thoughts. And then from that place, the thought has less power. And when it has less power, we can just see it, and then we can be like, that was just, I don't need to think that way. Like, there it is. It showed up. Okay, there it is. But then what is a higher truth? Like, what's a higher truth here? And so then first acknowledgement is important, and not trying to necessarily, like, push away, because that doesn't work. That is like whack-a-mole. That is like, you push it down, then it shows up somewhere else. So
right.
It's actually just acknowledging that it's there, but not getting so, like, intertwined with it, and not feeling, and realizing that that's not a reflection of who you are. It's just a thought. It means nothing. So, and that's a lifelong practice.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I highly recommend that for the next 11 weeks, you don't take on anything new. And so this is not the time to, like, sign up for another course if you can avoid it. And really, again, the more you can put into this course, and this doesn't mean like you let everything else in your life go. It just means that don't take on anything new. And again, we're just gonna, baby steps, small improvements. That's all we're looking for. But again, you want to just not distract yourself with other things, and sometimes that'll just be a way of self-sabotage, because it's a way of kind of avoiding what really needs to be done. Okay, so overview of the course. Every week you'll get, on Fridays, you will get the next habit. And so over the weekend is a good time to watch the webinar and to read over that section in the Better Habits Guide, and to fill out the worksheets, and to, at some point during the week, you'll connect with your mentor, and you'll determine when you're going to meet. And so that's every week you're going to talk to your mentor for 15 minutes. This is huge. This is really important. Take this seriously. Don't blow those off. This is a really awesome benefit. The mentors are basically people that have just gone through the course before, just like you. And they might have just finished it. And there's a few mentors that like just finished the course. So they've just had the experience before. So they can speak to, what worked for them, and they know the things that I talk about. So the reminders that I'm constantly giving, so they can help give you those reminders. And they are there to support you in whatever way you need to be supported. And so you'll build a relationship with them throughout the course. And it's really valuable to have that. And then attend these meetings. And again, it's like, make this a non-negotiable thing, unless of course you absolutely can't. But it's, again, the more you engage, the more you will get out of it. The more you show up, the better it is, not only for you, and show up not only for you, but for the group as a whole, because we feel when someone's not engaged. Like, you can sense it. Like, we're very good at reading body language, even if you're like just distracted on the meetings, or if you're just not showing up to the meetings, or if you're not like, showing up on Facebook. Because I talk to people, and I've had people say like, it felt like some people were just, they just wouldn't show up. And so just know that it's not like we think that nobody notices, but we do. Okay, so engage on Facebook at least once a week minimum. You'll get the weekly emails, and then there'll be a follow-up email after our meeting, which if you have to miss, life happens and you might be out of town or something where you can't attend, they're all recorded. So you'll be able to get the recording the next day. And update the Google Doc, which will be every week. You'll decide on a very specific thing to work on. So the first habit is earlier, lighter dinner. Maybe your habit is, I'm going to close the kitchen at 7. I'm going to not eat after 7. And again, you just want to take a baby step. So if you're currently closing the kitchen at 9, maybe you decide, okay, this week it's going to be 8:30. And then next week it's going to be 8. And then the next week it's going to be 7:30. And then the next week 7, until you're at a place where you're happy with how things are going. And so we're going to be adding lots of habits, and that's often like, say, a diet, the focus is on like taking things out and basically depriving yourself, which does not work. So the idea here is that by adding in the good, we're going to just squeeze out the bad, and that really is what happens. Like for me, it's like when I started to do this habits, I had just less of a desire for coffee. It's not so much that I was like, I gotta quit coffee. And then I had like less desire to drink as much wine. And there was more of a natural tendency of like wanting to eat more greens, and just these things just kind of happen more organically. So just look at it that way. And so this week, you're gonna, if you haven't already, take some time with a values workshop and get clear on what your values are, what they mean to you. So if it's a word, you can really look at like, okay, what does that word mean to me? Because words can mean different things to different people. And then rank them also. And this can be also something that you check in with yourself, maybe daily or weekly, and was I aligned to my values? Did my actions, did my choices align to what I say is most important to me? So am I in integrity with my values? And then the Dinacharya, the daily routine webinar. There's a question. Are the scorecards for all to share? Yes. So it's one with everyone so we can all see it. And so that's a way for us to, again, just have that accountability with the group. Yeah. So the Google Doc is, I sent it, I'll send it tomorrow, and I shared it. So what it is, so Google Doc, so you need a Gmail account for that, I think, pretty sure. No? Oh, Joy. So,
I don't think so. I don't have.
You don't have one, but you were able to access it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think
basically,
so.
yeah, it's a Google Doc is basically a document that everyone, if you have a link, everyone can contribute to it. So it's a nice way for us all to write in the same thing. Hopefully that answers the question.
I opened it on Shaw.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
Shaw, so yeah.
Okay. How many values? So I had a hard time. So I have 10, but you could do like 5. I have a hard time like narrowing things down. But I would say 5 is probably a good number. And then within those 5, rank them of like most to least important. And they're all going to be important, but just for, and this is something actually that's also talked about in that book, Triggers. So to get organized for this course, carve out time. So decide when is a good time in your week to work on this course, like to watch the webinars, to read through the material, to fill out the worksheets. Like, is it on a weekend, or is it on an evening one day of the week? But carve it out, block it out in your calendar so that you show up. And this is a good tool. Time blocking is just a good productivity tool in general. So for anything that you want to accomplish, block out time, schedule it in, and then have integrity with your calendar. This means like when it shows up, you actually do it. And then make sure, again, you're carving out the blocks with your mentor. If you can, unless you have shift work and your schedule is constantly changing, try to have that just consistent every week so that you both know when it's going to happen. You both block out the time and you don't forget, basically. And write down your why statement somewhere, or your anchor statement or your purpose statement, however you want to phrase that for yourself. Put that somewhere where you can see it. Maybe you put it in a few places. And take some time to read the guidelines, the group guidelines of how to show up, how you want to show up in this course, and how to really engage and get the most out of it. I feel like I'm talking a lot. Does anyone else want to, like, what's coming up for you? Like, what? I'd love to hear. How are you showing up? How are you showing up? Like, how does it feel to this first day?
Feels good. It feels like this is going to be great.
Yay.
They're a super neat forum. I've never done anything like this in a group conversation. And I think everybody's going to have different stuff, but there's lots of common things too that, like you said, sometimes we think we're the only ones that feel a certain way, and it's not true. There's always lots of other people that have the same fear or anxiety or whatever, some iteration of it along the way. So this is a really cool forum. I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I like being able to see everyone. It gets different than just kind of conference, like phone, because I've done lots of those, but it's a totally different dynamic when we can see faces.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyone else? And it can be fear. It can be, whatever, trepidation. Yeah.
Hang on. I'll unmute myself. Okay. I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to do it all, to be honest.
Well, that's
I'm
okay.
excited about it, but it feels, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and maybe I'm not going to be able to tap in as deeply as I want to be able to, because I think I live up here more than I'm living down here a lot of the time. And so I'm afraid that I'm not going to,
Yeah.
I'm going to just check stuff off my list, but I'm not actually going to feel it in the way that I need to.
Well, I think that's really just by you presencing that and being aware of that, you can check in with yourself in that level and actually have the little reminders of just even what we did in the beginning of taking a moment to actually presence how you feel and how you want to feel, and drop that awareness into your body. Because I'm the same way. I can be really in my head and really just analytical and thinking a lot, and less from that more intuitive, like, gut place.
Yeah, that's harder to access than the coconut.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, you won't do it all. So you won't be able to do it all, and nobody does. And that doesn't mean you failed.
I can't do it all. I'm not doing it right.
So, but again, it's all we're looking for is progress and improvement. And you're going to do a lot, and you'll do a lot in this 11 weeks more than you would if you didn't do this course, obviously. But you won't do, and I'm asking a lot with 10 habits. And these are, some of these are a big deal. And some of these are a little bit less of a deal. But it's but the point of this 11 weeks and the first time you go through it is simply becoming aware, learning about the habits, knowing how to actually adopt the habits, learning how to stay consistent, learning all these tools, and starting to actually move forward in a few of them and actually get them really down.
Mm-hmm.
And Joy, actually, I'm going to unmute you and have you speak to this since you just went through this. And yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, I remember that so clearly. And what was most helpful, and Donna says it over and over and over, is the smallest change changes the direction of where you're going. So if the Titanic had switched 1 degree, it ends up in a different place. So if we all have 30, 40 years to live, that's a lot of mileage if you just shift 1 degree. So that got me everywhere because I think I only switched maybe 3 degrees, but at least I'm not where I would have been 10 weeks ago. So Donna says that over and over, right?
Yeah. And I think you made huge changes, huge. Do you want to just share real quick, like your kind of before, after? And this is just the first round.
Yeah. I think I had never heard any of these. I never heard any of these principles. And so when I felt more like a free for all, you eat when you're hungry, you don't, you sleep, you get up, you go to work, I'd say my life was just a free for all. And it was working because I'm still here and all my children are alive at this point. But so it brought just a level of structure and just some basic points in the day, like, oh, time to do this little habit, or 3 hours later, eat. So that was my biggest one, was just sort of scheduling my eating. And I didn't change, this is my confession, I didn't change one thing I ate. Sorry, Donna.
No, that's okay.
Not one.
That's okay. Yeah.
I still eat everything I ate, and if anything, I just eat a little more, and I'm actually eating some things I love more. So I changed my relationship with food instead of this whole, like, there's rules and you have to do what you don't want to do. And I was so much freedom for me in what do I want? What would make me feel good, and actually scheduling eating more instead of this whole life of like deprivation. And so I'd say I brought structure, and it changed my relationship with food, even though I didn't change my eating habits. Does that make sense?
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're forgetting, like, you used to, like, you're in bed by 8, and what was it, like 2 before?
That I am forgetting. Yeah, I was struggling at the 1 a.m. and
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like we forget, like, how much.
It's true. I've forgotten that. Yeah, I do have more of a routine now. I go to my room at a certain time, and I take my time for myself. And it was easy stuff. If I have to say, I only did things that felt good. And that was another thing Donna was good at. She's like, if you don't want to, don't. Like, don't. Just do the things that you enjoy and that feel good. And in the end, it did. It got me into like a more relaxing evening habit. Yeah. And now I don't stay up till 2. I still struggle. That's why I'm here. But it's better.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, you all have a normal, that's your normal now. And then as you make these changes, and because we're making the changes slowly, it's a gradual process. So your new normal is going to be vastly different from your normal now, but it'll feel kind of normal at the end of that, if that makes any sense. Yep. So that's why it's really good to kind of measure where you are now. If there was a way to measure, like, even if it's like, what's my level of stress or anxiety, like, how would I rate that? And then we can look back and really see the progress that we made and the difference. Because sometimes these, again, it can be, we totally forget. Yeah. But Marnie, thank you for sharing that. And I know, yeah, you're definitely, I'm sure, not the only person that feels that way of like, I don't know if I'll be able to do this. I don't know if it'll work for me. And it's, there's so much depth to what you will learn here beyond just, and again, it can, and what I think Joy was talking about is learning how to trust your body and to listen to your body and to do what your body needs. That's self-care. Really decide, understanding what you really want, what would make you feel good, and not on the feel good, like if I eat a chocolate cake right now, I'll feel good, but on a different level of true nourishment on a deeper level. And then you'll have, all these habits. And again, and some of them do take some time. So the idea is we're going to start, and then you hopefully just keep practicing them until they do become automated to the point where they happen and you're thriving and you're healthy and you're balanced and you're strong and you're clear and you're vibrant, and all these things that you want, they do come when you stay with that, when you keep going and you stay consistent, which is what you'll learn here. All right, so quick 2 reminders. I'm going to Bali as long as there's no volcano eruption to lead a retreat at the end of the month. So there's 2 meeting date changes, and I put those in the email, but I just want to remind you again. Saturday, one's on a Saturday, and I know Saturday maybe isn't like the best day, but I wanted to, we're going to do one while I'm in Bali. So I'm crossing my fingers that like the internet connection's all good. And so I wanted to do as many while I'm not in Bali as possible. So that's why we're moving one a little bit early and then one a little bit later. So, and the Saturday, October 1st, and then the Wednesday, November 8th. So just make a note of those. Let me just, Wednesday, November 8th, both at 6 p.m. So it'll be a little bit earlier because I know a few of you on the East, you guys are staying up late for this, so I appreciate that. Anyone have any last questions before we close? And let's just keep the conversation going on Facebook. So if there are other things that you want to say or any questions, post them there. And so this week, is everyone clear on what you're working on this week? The values, the habits webinar. There's a webinar on habits that helps you understand all these little strategies on how to change habits. So it just gives you kind of, and I'm going to be talking about it throughout the course, but it'll just give you a little bit of an introduction to all the different tactics and methods that we're going to use. And I learn new ones and I introduce them in the middle of the course. So that's by all means not all of them. It's just the main ones. So watch that. Watch the daily rhythms, daily routine webinar. Do the values worksheet. And on Friday, you will be introduced to the new habit, the first habit, early or later dinner. So over the weekend, read up on that. You can start working on it. And then on Monday, we'll talk about it. And that's when you can bring your questions and we'll go deeper into that. All right. So have an awesome week. I'm going to unmute everyone so we can all goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good week.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Donna.
Yeah.
Thanks, Donna.
Thank you.
You're welcome.